Shalom friends, welcome to Throwback Reactions, Nazir 49. Disagreements, truly the backbone of the Talmud. Sometimes the disagreements are even about backbones. For example, in the last few pages alone, we've had a whole bunch of discussions all about Nazirites catching that ritual impurity from like skulls and spines and graves and stuff. Yes, Tractate Nazir is leaning in to its Goth era. In this daf, we learn that unfortunately, Rabbi Meir has passed away and has gone to be in the great study hall in the sky. My personal midrash for this is that one day he's reunited in heaven with his bestie, Elisha ben Avuya. I mean, obviously after Rabbi Yochanan went and extracted Elisha ben Avuya's soul from Gehenna back in Tractate Chagiga. But anyway, those that Rabbi Meir did leave behind here on Earth were having a difficult time, understandably, processing their grief. And to make it more stressful, they needed to find a new sage to learn from. So they rolled deep over to Rabbi Yehuda's Beit Midrash, which was an interesting choice when you remember that Rabbi Meir and Rabbi Yehuda did not see eye to eye on everything. So were Rabbi Meir's students just there to learn, or were they there to start something? At least that's what Rabbi Yehuda is wondering. He looks out the window and he sees Rabbi Meir's students pulling up. He says to his own disciples, oh my God, do not let Rabbi Meir's students in here. Don't do it. They don't want to learn. They just want to be annoying and undermine my teachings with Rabbi Meir's. To quote Mean Girls, they can't sit with us. It turns out that Rabbi Yehuda's students were not trained bouncers. And one of Rabbi Meir's students, Samchos, burst in through the wall like he was the Kool-Aid man in one of those commercials. I mean, I totally understand that Samchos was trying to preserve the legacy of his beloved teacher. But this is not a healthy way to cope. His inner pain immediately manifests itself as him telling Rabbi Yehuda one of Rabbi Meir's teachings. He's like, okay, if a Nazirite gets ritually impure through proximity to an unalive body or through proximity to a kazait of an unalive body, well, then he has to shave his head. Rabbi Yehuda is so annoyed right now. He's even doing the stressed out Picard meme. He says to Samchos, why say both? This is redundant. Obviously, if you contract ritual impurity from this much of a cadaver, you're gonna catch ritual impurity from the whole body yada yada. Duh. Then he, of course, projects his feelings and flips out at his disciples for allowing Samchos to get in the first place. I'm not sure why he thinks it's their fault. Not everybody has the fighting capacity and know-how of former gladiator / bandit Reish Lakish, okay? So now we have Rabbi Yossi, who is observing this flame war between Rabbi Yehuda and Samchos. And he's just like, oh my God, what do I do? Meir is gone. Yehuda is furious. And if I don't do something, what becomes of the Torah? This is just like that moment at the Council of Elrond, where everybody's fighting about what to do with the ring. And that's when Frodo steps forward and says, I will take it. I will take the ring to Mordor, though I do not know the way. This is Rabbi Yossi's Frodo moment. He knows that somebody has to de-escalate the situation. So Rabbi Yossi is like, you're both right. Rabbi Meir is actually saying two things. The first thing is if you come into contact with a kazayit of a body, that does indeed make you ritually impure. But also the second thing is that it could be just a full skeleton with no flesh. Those are different things, and it's not redundant. This stuff really did have a vital lesson courtesy of Rabbi Yossi and Frodo. Alas, it's very relevant to ask what happens to Torah, to the Jewish people, when our schools of thought are so entrenched in our positions against each other. I mean, for example, some Jews try to bar the door to fellow Jews to keep them out of spaces of learning. And for that matter, also try to bar them from holy spaces where they are just trying to pray. And all of that is done in the name of preserving Torah. So let's take a page out of Rabbi Yossi's book and recognize that this doesn't preserve Torah. In fact, it really does the opposite. Thank you so much to the Pardes Institute of Jewish Studies for sponsoring this video. Fun fact, if you want to go learn there, you don't actually have to break in through a wall. You can just apply. Now that's innovation.